guys, so today I'm going to be talking about 5 things you need to know before you get a leopard gecko. So as most of you know, I have my little Piper here. I only got her about 5 months ago, but I have been having a lot of requests for more care videos. Since I'm still really new to having leopard geckos, I don't want to give too much care. So I thought a 5 tips video would be a really good idea. This is just going to be a very basic video. So if you're just starting to think about a leopard gecko, these are 5 major things you need to think about before you decide if a leopard gecko might be a good pet for you. So I'm going to go ahead and put Piper back in her cage for now. I just wanted you guys to see her real quick. So here she is. Like I said, I've had her for about 5 months. She is my first gecko and she's my first reptile in general. So these are just 5 quick things that you really need to know before you think about getting one of these. So the first thing to know before getting a leopard gecko is that if they're taken care of properly, they can live for 20 or more years. So they are definitely a really big commitment you have to think, especially if you're like a teenager, where you're going to be in your life in 20 years. A lot of people are going to be going off to college, starting families, and your gecko is going to be with you that whole time, so they are a very, very big commitment. The second thing you need to know before deciding to get a leopard gecko is they must eat live food. Leopard geckos are insectivores, which means they eat a lot of different types of insects. A few good insects for them are dubia roaches, crickets, superworms, and mealworms. You can feed waxworms, but I don't really recommend it because they are pretty high in fat. They're more like a treat. So if you're not comfortable with feeding live insects, a leopard gecko probably isn't the best pet for you. Some people do feed like canned crickets and canned mealworms. I really don't recommend that. Anything that's actually alive is going to be way more healthy for your gecko and they're going to appreciate it a lot more. Along with feeding live insects, you do have to dust the insects when you feed them. Leopard geckos need a lot of extra calcium and a lot of vitamins, including D3. Because they can get very, very sick and even die if they don't get all their vitamins. So you must feed them live insects dusted with calcium powders and vitamins. The third thing that's very important to know before you decide to get a leopard gecko is they are nocturnal. So what this means is they're going to be most active at night when you're asleep. So if you're looking for a pet you can see a lot during the day that's going to be very active, a leopard gecko probably isn't a really good fit. Piper usually wakes up around 9 or 10 at night, and then she is active all night. When I wake up around 6:30 or 7 in the morning, she is just getting ready to go to bed and end her day. So like I said, they're not really active that much during the day. You can get them out and handle them a little bit during the day, but I suggest doing it really late in the evening so they're thinking about waking up anyway. You wouldn't want to be woken up at like 3 in the morning to go do something, so don't wake them up in the middle of the afternoon. The fourth thing to know about leopard geckos is they do require a heat mat. Leopard geckos come from a pretty warm environment, so they do need that extra heat. Unlike a lot of reptiles that bask during the day, leopard geckos don't need an overhead light or any UVB. Some people do decide to use UVB, but in my setup I do not, and she's doing just fine. But overall, they don't need that overall heat. They actually get their heat from their belly, which is why you need a heat mat. The majority of their tank is good at room temperature, so around 74 degrees or so is what I keep mine at. But then about 1/3 to 1/2 of the tank should have a heat mat underneath, and that should be kept anywhere from about 88 to a little over 90 degrees. I recommend looking into a thermostat to hook your heat mat into. I have one on mine. Heat is very important to geckos, and without it they can't have the proper digestion, so make sure you look into a heat mat. And the fifth thing you need to know about leopard geckos, this is something that I miss on a lot of videos when I'm looking through YouTube. It seems like a lot of people don't have a proper humid hide. Leopard geckos do shed their skin. When they're smaller, they shed every 2 weeks or so because they're growing pretty quick. The older they get, they'll shed about once a month. When they're going through this shedding process, since their tank in general isn't very humid, they need some type of hide that is humid, and this helps their skin come off better. If you don't provide a humid hide, their skin can get stuck on them, and it can get stuck around their toes, and they can end up losing their toes. So for my humid hide, I just use a normal little enclosed hide. I actually use wet paper towels in there. This keeps the humidity up pretty well. A lot of people also use Eco Earth or moss. It just depends on what you want to use. I used to use Eco Earth, but I did recently change to paper towels. They work great. They're really easy to clean and change out, and they keep the humidity up. Every time Piper is getting ready to shed, I always see her spending all day in her humid hide, so I know she really appreciates it, and so far I haven't had any problems with her shedding. She hasn't had any skin stuck on her toes at all. So there you go. There are 5 basic things you need to know about leopard geckos before you're deciding on getting one. If you are watching this and you're really deciding on if a leopard gecko is right for you, definitely do a lot more research. This is a very basic video. This is just kind of where you start, and then you can dive down into each section from here. If you do have any additional questions, leave them in the comments. I usually try to get back to most of the comments. I will definitely have more leopard gecko care coming up on this channel, but like I said, I'm still pretty new to the hobby myself. I've only had Piper for about 5 months, so I am going to stick with pretty basic care information for right now. There are a couple really good leopard gecko YouTubers though, so make sure to just search around YouTube and I'm sure you can find some great information. Hopefully this video helped you guys out deciding if a leopard gecko might be a good pet for you. I am really happy that I decided to go with a leopard gecko. I think they make really great first reptiles and I absolutely love Piper. She's pretty easy to take care of as long as you know what you're getting into beforehand. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and it helped you out a little bit. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you did like it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss my upcoming videos, and I'll see you guys next time.